and Pharrell have joined forces to create the Titan collection. This is I believe, a 19-piece fine jewellery collection that's a collaboration between Tiffany and Pharrell. It is inspired by Poseidon, the Greek god of, wait for it, sea, earthquakes and horses. Do we not think that that's just a random throw in there, like, and horses, we'll give you horses. But anyway, this collection ranges in price from $3,400 all the way up to $55,000. It's officially launching on the 3rd of June, but it's online now, apparently under early access. I mean, just launch it, right? Like, I don't understand why we sort of need to do it now and then just launch it now. What? Anyway, so that's happening. Now, this whole collection, like I said, Poseidon, King of Atlantis. Atlantis is the name of the community that Pharrell grew up in West Virginia. So here lie the connections. You'll also notice with a lot of the designs, you have this matte black aspect, and that's titanium. Now, according to Pharrell, he said he wanted to use titanium because it was a physical manifestation of beauty in blackness. This is unsurprising that we're seeing this collaboration, right? Because both of these brands are LVMH brands. And by brands, I mean Pharrell works for Louis Vuitton as creative director of men's, LVMH brand, Tiffany, also LVMH brand. So there's a lot of cross-pollination between the brands of LVMH. So this just feels like it was a matter of time. My first impressions of this collection, I loved it because I felt like it was very sort of Tiffany hardware meets something like Horse and Booze. It's very chunky, it's very statementy, it's very kind of up my alley, okay? So like this ring was the first thing that I was like, yes. I love the layers, I love how big it is. These sort of spike aspects, I think, are the sort of Poseidon's trident. I don't know why I did that, but you know what I mean. You know, it has a sort of extra large fork. I also like these little earrings. My problem is that they're little. I would have liked it if they were a little bit more sort of, you know, just sort of chunkier, because they just look like Huggies with like a little spike at the bottom. Obviously, you've then got earrings that are maybe a little bit more down this alley. You've got the black titanium necklace. This ring, I thought, was a little bit of a nothing ring. It's a unisex collection, right? So, I mean, all jewellery is unisex. But the interesting thing about this is that if you look super closely, here we go, that diamond is reverse set. And I thought that this was quite clever because apparently they've done it to sort of exaggerate the brilliance of the diamond, right? Because there's more facets for the light to bounce off of. Physics, prisms, Pink Floyd, you know. Anyway, and I also don't think it's going to be sharp because they're not stupid like that. They would have rounded the top of it. What is the word? I'm trying to think of the word that means to, like, when you dull something. You would have sort of, they would have done something such that I don't think it's going to like catch and scrape and pull. But I did like the fact that where there are diamonds, they're all reverse set. Very similar to the Tiffany hardware range. But as I was looking through this collection, I mean, like, these earrings are along the same line as these, except that you have that trident aspect and the diamonds, obviously, and the fact that they're $11,500 and these were not. But one thing that struck me as really obvious as I was scrolling through, and I was like, love, 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 where's the silver? The one thing about Tiffany Co, specifically as a brand, is that they have this corner of the sterling silver market. It is such a core part of their brand. And this makes Tiffany stand apart from brands like Cartier and Bulgari and stuff like that, because they have this section that is definitely more on the approachable price point, but tends to be a part of a lot of their big collections. Tiffany hardware, right? There's the sterling silver options that instead of paying $6,000 for the yellow gold, rose gold version of these, you can pay, what was it, like $1,500 that I paid for these, right? Again, it's not cheap, but it does offer a little bit more of an entrance into the brand compared to going straight for the gold, which this collection is. I feel as though I maybe might be jumping the gun a bit because It's early access. Does that mean that when it officially drops, they might add more to the collection? There may be a sterling silver offering. I don't know. But that's something that we're going to get into a little bit more in this video. More recently, they did a collaboration with the artist Daniel Arsham and Pokemon. For all of those who love Tiffany and also got to catch them all. I mean, the collision of worlds. But that price point started at, I think, like $1,400, $1,500, which once again, whilst not cheap, is definitely a better introductory price than $3,400. I mean, those prices are up there. This is something that we're seeing with luxury brands left, right and centre, right? And I've done like a whole video on this or whatever, so we don't need to harp on about it. And there will always be people who are going to pay the $55,000 for a Tiffany necklace, you know? There was an article in the Robb Report about this collection that described the wearer of these, okay? So it says, the wearer or this collection should appeal to the individuals with a unique mindset and powerful force that confronts the ordinary. Wonderful. So really, I think we've got that across the price range, and yet the price range is limiting the pool of those individuals. So that just made me laugh, and I thought that was quite interesting. Like, oh, I too have a unique mindset and a powerful force that confronts the ordinary in my head. But yeah, no, I would, you know, as much as I would love that $55,000 necklace, that's just not happening. Anyway, this got me thinking about Tiffany in general, the current sort of state of Tiffany, where Tiffany's going, and it's had this sort of rebrand, especially since it's been, you know, taken into the LVMH family. And also, I had thoughts about its trajectory and all of that. Now, I did a video last year about the Tiffany-Nike collaboration that kind of goes into a timeline of previous collaborations to do with that, where I think they're going and all of this. So this is almost like an updated version of that. And I basically also said that they're definitely trying to appeal to this younger generation of buyers, the next generation of Tiffany purchasers, who will go back and back and back for different occasions and milestones in their lives. At the end of last year, we saw the Tiffany Rimowa collab, once again, 2 LVMH brands. Unsurprising. I really like the collaboration. I didn't get a chance, but I liked it. They're definitely getting around. I mean, what next for the collaborations? I will, at the end, I'll sort of tell you which collaborations I think that they should do within the family. I'm sure that they're also doing numbers. Like, I feel as though they're really selling, because Tiffany is much more than just a fine jewellery brand. For example, they opened their New York flagship, the Landmark, last year, and they are definitely treating it as such. And what I mean by that is, they have very much built this as it's almost like a tourist destination, and they know it. So when you go in there, it's not just a shopping experience. It's not just, you know, this is the floor for the sterling silver, and this is the floor for the Elsa Peretti, and this is the floor for whatever. The staff are first of all, the staff are really lovely and helpful. They are more than happy to take you on a tour. There are aspects of the building that are very museum-like, and they are more than happy to show you these extravagant, ridiculous, opulent, you know, 100 and whatever carat emeralds and all of that business. And like I said, they frame it as a landmark. The clue is in the name. And of course, you get little exclusive pieces that are there that aren't available on the website, that aren't available in any other stores. They also have the Blue Box Cafe, which they now have in 4 places in the world, I believe. You've got one in the Landmark in New York, you've got one in Harrods in London, one in the Dubai Mall, and one in Hong Kong. So it's much more than just fine jewellery. Even if you go into their stores, you will see a wide range of product, from fine jewellery, perfume, home, gifts, watches, silks, small leather goods. I don't know if there's anything else that I'm forgetting, but probably. They have expanded far past being a fine jewellery brand and much more into lifestyle. So I think a part of that means that they don't need to rely on their collections appealing to everybody. They don't need to just rely on the jewellery. Obviously, I'm sure that that is the majority of their sales and everything. But Tiffany is such an iconic brand that it doesn't need to just rely on that. You buy into the Breakfast at Tiffany's and the Audrey Hepburn. They have the dress in the New York landmark. They have the Givenchy dress that she wore and all of that. It has ingrained itself in lots of different points of culture that has contributed to how big this brand is now. So, whilst my initial thoughts when I first saw this collection was ding, 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 no sterling silver, they don't necessarily need to include the sterling silver. They already have such a huge sterling silver offering that they don't need to just include it into this Pharrell one just to include it and just to have something for those of us aren't going to spend 11,000 on it. It's a glorious ring. And of course there are lots of other collections that do include the sterling silver, so it's not like they need to cater for everybody every time. Now we know when it comes to luxury fine jewellery there is a ginormous markup, okay? And that's why if you go to Tiffany and you get an engagement ring and you know a 1 carat starts at, I have no idea how much they're charging for it, but like 10 grand. And if you were to go to, I don't know, a local jeweller, a 1 carat might be like 3 or 4. We know that there's a massive markup. And you know that I talk a lot about luxury fine jewellery brands, and I very much advocate for, oh my gosh, I've been talking this whole thing and I haven't even put on all my rings this morning. I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. Hold. And you know that I advocate for independent fine jewellery brands. I love them. I think that they're so unique and different, and like if you want something that not a lot of other people are going to have, then that's very much the way to go. You know I love them. Like I don't need to harp on about it. But I also understand why people go to the big name brands, because you're buying into the brand, you're buying into a certain design that obviously if you want the authentic one, this is where you're going to go. You're buying into the shopping experience, going to the landmark, having it at the blue box, all of that, right? So I understand. And like I said earlier, I might be out here harping on about why they should have included sterling silver, and this collection might be added onto with sterling silver. There may be an offering, okay? I also don't think that this is the last collection that we will see from Pharrell and Tiffany. I think that if he doesn't add another collection, he will bolster this collection more. And, you know, maybe like seasonally, or, you know, in a year, in 2 years' time, more will be added to this collection, right? I think that LVMH Pharrell is their golden child at the moment, and they are just going to do as much as they can with him. I also think that Tiffany is going to be playing a huge part in the Paris Olympic Games. I wouldn't be surprised if they were making some, if not all, of the trophies, sponsoring a lot of the athletes, and no doubt they will continue to collaborate with LVMH brands. And even if it's not full-blown collections, but its use of the Tiffany colour. Tiffany blue is trademarked and has been since like, why don't I say like the 80s or the 90s or something? It's also a Pantone custom colour, which means that nobody else is like allowed to use that colour except for Tiffany. So even if it's not kind of all that obvious, and this makes me think about the Louis Vuitton Pharrell P9 Speedy that's coming out for Fall/Winter 2024 as the Louis Vuitton men's collection, which is very, very similar, if not Tiffany blue. Which makes me also think, well, if you're both LVMH brands, you're not going to produce something in a colour that's like that close to Tiffany blue, when surely you could just use Tiffany blue because you own the brand, and that's how you get that blue and nobody else does. I don't know if I'm making sense, or if I'm out here spewing riddles, giving Rumpelstiltskin under a bridge, but I hope that you understand kind of where I'm coming from. I think that Tiffany blue is a colour that's going to pop up within Louis Vuitton LVMH brands, be it an official collaboration or not, because they can. And in terms of collaborations I want from Tiffany within the world of LVMH, I want Tiffany and Hublot. Tiffany does make watches, but how has this not happened? How has not a special edition Hublot with a Tiffany blue face and something or other not already happened? They're both owned by the same brands. Hublot also is a big sports sponsor. I know that they sponsor a lot of football games and all of that. So again, is that a tie into the Olympics? Maybe. Maybe. Am I a soothsayer? Please. I wish, actually. If they haven't made a special edition Hublot with Tiffany for the 2024 Paris Olympics, they need to get on that now, right? And cut me into the deal, please, because I think that is a good, that makes sense. I also very randomly think it would be very good. Tiffany does homeware, right? The classic Pucci Marmot wave print on porcelain and homeware. Give me a Pucci mug, right? Done with Tiffany blue. Why is that not happening? That is a phenomenal idea, and I think that they should do it, and I think that that's fantastic. Why not? Imagine taking your tea in the morning out of your Emilio Pucci x Tiffany beautiful little porcelain teacup. What? Incredible. Again, cut me into that deal. I think it's a good one. And look, I love a collaboration. I really do. I buy into the limited editionness of it, but it just needs to make sense. I don't think they should be collaborating willy-nilly like the neighbourhood bike going along getting ridden by everybody, right? It needs to go a step further. It needs to be thought about. Something like, I'm sorry, the Emilio Pucci homeware with Tiffany, please. Please, why is that not happening? There we go. Let me know what you think. What did you think of the collection? What do you think of Tiffany and the way that they're sort of moving and all of that? I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.